This is my second Altra Trail shoes. The first one was the Olympus 5, which was a disaster. The outsole came apart after 150 kilometers. Is the Timp 5 living up to the expectations? How is the durability? Before I start talking about the Altra Timp 5, I would like to make the usual disclaimer. I bought this shoe from my own money. I bought it from Ultra Running Europe directly. I had a discount, a coupon of 30% off, so I bought this one and via Olympus 2. Before I talk about the things that I like, dislike and mention a little something about the quality of the shoe, I would like to start by talking about the specifications of the shoe. Let's start with the upper. The upper is some kind of engineered mesh. It is a very stiff, rigid upper, so it feels like chain armor. That is very harsh. It's very harsh. You can hear how harsh it is. It is very protective on the trails, especially in the local trails where it's usually rocks, and it is a relatively comfortable upper. I will talk about the upper later on because there are some things that one needs to keep in mind. It has a gaiter trap. Both has the hook in the front and the Velcro in the back. The heel is a little bit stiffer than other Ultra models, however it still has some flexibility to it. The tongue is not so thick, and however it's very comfortable. It has it has some cushioning on the top so that you have less chance of having lace bites. The midsole is an Ego Max midsole. It is a 29mm midsole. It is firm as well, like the Torin 7. In fact, for me this shoe is like a Torin 7 for the trails if I had to actually compare them. However, I feel that the toe spring in this model is slightly higher, slightly more aggressive, so I prefer the ride of this shoe compared to the Torin 7. The outsole, an updated outsole for this year's model, it is Vibram's Mega Grip. It has a 3.5mm lugs, and this was stated online and did not stay measuring them. Vibram makes wonderful outsoles and it's grippy on most terrains. I did not try it out on very muddy situations, however this is not made for those kind of situations because usually if you're running in very muddy conditions, the lugs tend to be 7mm or 6mm, so they can really dig into the mud. The weight for the shoe is that of 340 grams. It's pretty heavy, however when you're holding in your hand and when you're running, I do not feel that weight. And the price in Europe is that of around 150 euro. You can find sales and already online for the shoe. I've seen it for 112 euro already. And the color in this one is called sand color. I really like it. It really fits to our Maltese environment, which is usually dusty. So let me start a little bit first about the upper. As I said, the upper is very protective. It's harsh to the touch, and that adds to its durability. I think that this upper is very difficult to actually, pierce or something with rocks. Overall, I can say that I'm expecting the upper to last until the end of life of the shoe. One thing that you might need to keep in mind with the upper, that since it's a very harsh and it's a very stiff material, if you have very wide feet, it might not accommodate them in the toe, especially because it has no give to it. The difference than the Torin 7, which has a mesh upper which is much more pliable. If your feet are slightly wider, the toe box is wider, your toes are wider, it can push the material a little bit out. In this case, it's very difficult, and the material does not accommodate that much, it's not very flexible, so you need to keep that thing in mind. Another thing which I really enjoy is the fit. I really enjoy the dialed in midfoot and heel, and my feet really hold well when I'm doing some trail running. Usually I run on technical terrain in most scenarios, and I had no issues with this shoe. The midsole is firm, however, when I'm doing trail running, I really enjoy this firm midsole. It protects me from very sharp rocks. It has no rock plate, and it might not need one, to be honest. However, if you have sensitive feet like I do, sometimes I do appreciate if there's a bit of a rock plate to protect my feet from irritation, especially at the bottom of the foot. It is not a flexible shoe, so it's a very, very rigid shoe. So don't think that you're gonna, feel very pointy rock so much. So when you land, you have a high chance of actually rolling a bit your ankle. It is not a super high stack shoe, so you're not gonna compare to the Trabuco Max 2 or 3. It's not that high. You can still feel where you're landing. However, it's not, for example, as flexible as the Topo Mountain Racer 3, which now I will do a comparison between the two in another separate video. The lugs are not that deep. They are 3.5mm lugs, but they do very well. Overall, I'm very pleased with this shoe. However, like usual, I have a little bit of issue with the durability. In this case, the durability with the overlays. If you look closely to the shoe, you will realize that the overlays are already coming apart in some area. I will do some close-ups so that one can realize. So I'm not sure whether Altra is literally upping the game when it comes to durability as well. The front part is kind of losing, the glue is coming off, and I'm still in the first 120 kilometers. I'm not sure what will happen by the end of it. I am sure that it will not affect by any ways and means the way the shoe performs. However, when you're spending money on a shoe, you expect that nothing will come apart, at least in the first 500 kilometers. This was it for today. I hope you liked this video. Thank you for subscribing to the Amateur Runner. See you in the next one.